I tried being good, I tried being nice, I'd even tried pretending I was listening once or twice, but the really big stars have made it without it. Was Elaine Stritch pleasant? Well, I seriously doubt it still. She was rich! Everyone adored her and the world was at her feet, and she was a bitch! It's obvious that I have gotten nowhere being sweet. Now I know I should be thankful for the blessings that I've got. My boyfriend truly worships me, and starving I am not. And I know that friends and family and health count for a lot, but I have to admit that it doesn't mean a shit if I'm not rich, famous and powerful. Oh, come on, don't look so shocked. You know you feel the same as I if I were rich. Famous and powerful, we could take all those agents and casting directors, tiny apartments and back tax collectors, critics and casting calls, chilly rehearsal halls, people who bore us in jobs in the chorus and kiss them all goodbye. Too much to ask.
Hi there, and welcome to MTC Live. I'm Kevin Connors, and that is a great way to start off our afternoon today. We have such a special guest here. He is an alumni of 3 shows here at MTC, and also is on hiatus now from the national tour of Wicked, and we are going to talk about that really quickly. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring him in, my good buddy, Matt DENSKY. Come on in, Matt.
Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon, I guess.
How are you?
I'm so good. I'm just chilling here in Monroe at my parents' house.
Yeah, I know. Weird time, right?
Yes. I never thought I'd be living with my parents at 32, but here we are.
Well, it happens sometimes. So,
Right.
Yeah. And because I know your parents, I think that you're lucky and they're lucky. So
They're delightful.
yeah, it's a great thing. Okay, so you have done 3 shows here at MTC.
Mm-hmm.
It started with Santaland Diaries, and then went to End of the Rainbow, the Judy Garland thing, and then lastly, the 39 Steps, which is wild and crazy. And as people can see from that opening video, that's kind of your brand, is wild, crazy, fun, kooky, off the wall, all of that.
Loud, that's me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think we're going to see a few pictures actually of a couple of those. There's Crumpet.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah, yeah. That was so great. And there it is, the 39 Steps.
So handsome.
You and Jimmy playing 4,000 roles in that show.
Yep.
And then there's Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about, I think our audience would be interested in hearing, I mean, we all read in playbills and stuff that people have been doing national tours and that sort of thing. But I think that maybe a lot of our audience doesn't know exactly what that's like. You know, way back in the day, I did a couple of national tours and I remember it well. And I think it's something that is interesting and a much different experience than you would normally have in a show that just sort of rehearses and opens in the same theater and closes in the same theater. So tell us a little bit about how much you travel with that, how long the show sits down, and kind of what it's like when you first arrive in a city from then until like the opening night.
So Wicked, we are very fortunate on Wicked that the shortest run that we play is 2 weeks. So we play anywhere from 2 to 9 weeks with the show. I think the longest sit downs I've done are 7 and 9 weeks with the show. So basically we'll open a city. We always usually open a city on a Wednesday. So we'll close like Sunday night and then kind of have like 2.5 days to kind of chill, get to the new city. The company will fly you to the new city, or you can, I'll like choose to go home and see my fiance in New York for a couple of days and then fly out to whatever stop we're going to be at. But every day we're not called to the theater until the afternoon on Wednesday before we open. So we'll have a company meeting. We'll walk around the space, get to see, where the dressing room is, where a lot of the backstages are different. We have a couple different setups of how we do the show backstage. So we'll figure out where quick changes are. And sometimes, like when we were in Toronto, everything was like down in the basement. So we had to like re-choreograph wherever the heck we were going to make it down there in time. So then we'll have a sound check with the orchestra. We travel, I believe, six, I think, of our musicians. And then we pick up about 11 or 12 for every city. So they only start rehearsing. The orchestra only starts rehearsing together like Tuesday. And then we got to do the show Wednesday night. So we'll have a sound check with them so they can figure out, the microphone frequencies, and all the sound systems in all these theaters are totally different. So it's kind of a mixed bag on a Wednesday because you have so many new elements coming in together. Even though we've been, I've been out for almost 2 years, and like every Wednesday we get to a city, it's a totally different show, and everybody has to be on their toes because there's so many different elements flying around. So we'll sound check and then we'll open the show that night.
I think one of the most fascinating things about that is, for somebody who doesn't do this all the time, is that you don't really get the opportunity to run the show in the new space. You just do a couple of things, and so Wednesday night then is a little bit of an adventure every single time.
Sure is.
And everybody has these. Do you have a favorite sort of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening tour story?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so we were in Salt Lake City with the show, and the heat was very hot in the theater, and it was like, so we were in Salt Lake in like January and February, so it was like super cold in Salt Lake. And I was in One Short Day, in the number One Short Day, when they get to the Emerald City, and Alphabet and Glinda are friends now. I ride a tricycle. I have this big gigantic tricycle that I ride around them. I ride around the Witches Center stage. And one performance in Salt Lake, I remember I was tired. It was like a matinee, and I was like, and something else had kind of gone wonky, and I was like, let me just get through One Short Day, and then it's smooth sailing from here. Well, I spoke too soon. So I come out in my tricycle, I'm riding it, and then all of a sudden it stops moving. And I'm like, what did my costume? I have like these long like ribbon tails that I wear in the show. So I thought the ribbons got stuck in the wheels or something. Turns out something with like the heat and the cold like fused the metal together, and the metal decided to fuse and stop working while I was center stage in front of the witches. So I had to jump off the back and try to put, like, the dancers are coming on, like wondering why the heck I'm still on stage. And I tried to like push this like thing that weighs like 1,000,000 tons. Meanwhile, I've got like adrenaline sweats and I don't know what the heck's happening. Finally, the crew has to come out in like their blacks and like push it off stage and go on with the number.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like the most like,
yeah,
that was pretty bad. And then one performance, somebody accidentally, I have this long pointy doodad that comes off my hat in Act 2, and somebody knocked it and my entire wig fell right off my head center stage. That was a good one. Live theater.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting because sometimes it's those moments that help keep it fresh for you too, because you know, when you've been out doing a show, I mean, that's a challenge. I think people don't realize what a challenge that is when you're, you know, doing a track and you're doing a track for, you know, 1.5 years or 2 years or 2.5 years or 3 years. Everybody always asks how you keep it fresh. But the thing is, when it's live theater, it's always kind of fresh because every audience is different. Every house is different for you. Mm-hmm. And weird stuff like that happens all the time. And it's sort of like you can't really go on autopilot.
No,
you know?
And we have, I mean, because the show's been around this tour, I think, has been out gosh, since 2009, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
It's been out for a while. So we are always having new people come into the company. We're always in rehearsal. That's our joke, is that nobody's ever not rehearsing at Wicked. So we'll always have new people come into the show, and that energy, you know, is new and also awesome, because you can't go on autopilot, because there's somebody that's on their third performance that you know where they're going.
Exactly. So you had told me that you think that maybe late September or early October, you think the tour may be opening again.
We are kind of at the mercy of everything that's going on right now. I know we would, you know, as things are starting to reopen and things are trying to reopen, we're trying to get back to work as quickly and as safely as possible. And you know, and that's the struggle right now, is that we want to be safe. We want our audiences to be safe. And it's just finding that happy marriage, or that attempt of a marriage of everything working out and going down, because of the places that we're set to go on tour. We are kind of waiting to see how everything plays out there before we get the go ahead from
and
the
also, with so much of everything right now, it's hard to plan what 2 weeks from now is going to look like, let alone 6 months. You know, that's really tough, I think, for all of us.
Very much.
Yeah, very much. So talk to me just a little bit, and then I'll let you go, because I know how busy you are. So talk to me a little bit about what, I know that you're playing Bach in Wicked was like a dream role of yours forever. And now you've been in the tour for 6 months or 2 years. So at some point, you're probably looking past the tour and thinking, okay, you know, if at some point I'll probably leave the tour, or at some point the tour will go on hiatus and I'll be looking to do something else. What do you think might be, what's like your, I mean, you're too young to have a bucket list, but what's something that you think, gosh, I'd really like to do this. I'd like for this to be my next thing.
Next thing. I just like, to be honest, I was asked this question in another interview a couple of weeks ago. I just want to like create something, I think. Whenever the musical theater gods intervene and, you know, we can do shows again. I just really want to create a role. I think I do kind of wild and zany things, and I would just like to, like, you know, I love Wicked, and I love doing Wicked every day. And once we get back, I'm going to be out for a while. But yeah, I would like to create something and just like start from scratch and have something tailored to what I do, and be able to like really infuse myself into a creative process.
Well, having worked with you a couple of times on roles that you haven't done before, I can tell you that's a pleasure on our side too, because you're so creative and you bring so much to the table all the time. And you are, when the right thing comes along, you're going to be a star.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and it'll come along. You're at an age where it'll come along.
No, well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, thank you so much for coming in. It's been so great to have you here. It's so great to see you, even though you've been up here since March, and you know, just sort of everybody hunkered down like we all do.
I know. A lot of Netflix.
Absolutely. All right. Be safe. And we're going to stay in touch, because we have another project coming up that I've already started talking to you about. And I can't tell our audience about that yet, but it'll be coming up.
Yeah.
So I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.
All right, you guys too. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye. Matt DENSKY. He is such a great actor and such a great musical theater performer, as you can tell. And that's absolutely true. There's going to be a dream role come along for him that he can create from the ground up, as everybody wants to do. So that's our show for today. I want to remind you that on the 25th of July, we're going to be doing a special Broadway All-Star Cabaret. So if you're not on our mailing list, please go on the website and get on the mailing list. There's all the information right there. And be sure that we can communicate with you, because even though we're not doing live theater for the next small amount of time, we have a lot of virtual things going on all the time that are very different and very interesting. And we want to see you here virtually with us as much as we possibly can. So without any further ado, have a great rest of the week, everybody. We're going to go out with another video of a beautiful performance by Matt DENSKY. And we'll see you next week right back here.